What's going on, guys? This is Kyle Carroll from MyMMAnews.com and Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. Today I'm joined with Joshua Abrams, who will be fighting at Triton Fights on June 18th, I believe. And, Joshua, thanks for joining me.
Hi, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Tell us a little
Appreciate
bit
it.
about yourself and how you got into MMA. I know it's your second fight you're going into.
Yeah. Well, a few years ago, I played basketball growing up my entire life, and I was at an Equinox gym in Midtown, and I met Jaquan Wilder, Jaquan Jackson.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
yeah, and he's the one who told me to look up John Jones, T.J. Dillashaw, Anderson Silva. I didn't really know too much about MMA until then, and I watched one fight. I ended up watching all of their fights. I hit him up the next day. I was like, how do I get into this? And I joined a UFC gym and fell in love first day. And so here I am. Yeah.
Awesome. And as we know, MMA, is all sorts of aspects of different martial arts. What would you say is your favorite aspect of martial arts?
Will I have a favorite? I don't know. So when I started, I grew up striking. I was a Taekwondo black belt.
Okay.
And so, I would say striking, but then as obviously I started wrestling and learning jujitsu, judo, and I really just fell in love with everything. I wouldn't say I have a favorite. I'm a complete martial artist, and I learned to grow in all aspects, and so I love all of it. I love the grind of wrestling. I love the poise and precision of striking. I love the what's the word for it? The deceptiveness of judo. You know what I mean? And so I love all that.
Awesome. And you got your second fight in your amateur career coming up June 18th at Triton Fights. Great promotion. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned from your first fight to now.
What I learned from my first fight to now was everything that I said and that I was saying to my family, myself, is true. I said from the beginning when I came into Warriors Nation with December, like late December, I told him I was like, yeah, I want to fight. I can fight. I know I'm about it. And then yeah, and then go and back it up. Is that I've looked at guys in everyone in the lightweight division in Triton, and I've said it many times before. I'll say it again. I know I'll beat every last one of them. None of them move like me. None of them have they don't see things. They don't set things up the way that I do, and I just have a knack for this, and I put the work in behind it. And so, mark my words. I'll say it here live, but mark my words. I'll be the lightweight champ soon enough. So that was what I learned after the first fight.
Awesome, man. Take us through a little bit of your training. How often do you train? Do you work a job alongside this? And take us through a little bit of a week of training for you.
Yeah, I train 6 days a week, sometimes 7. From kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, do a little bit of everything every single day. Now I've been training more of my wrestling, just kind of getting that up to the level of my striking. And yeah, so I wake up, I go to the gym. I live out here in Jersey, and so I travel into the city every single day. When we were first located in Queens, I was traveling 1.5 hours there and back every single day.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, so today I was in Bayside, which is 2 hours and 10 minutes away from me, and so I travel regardless. And so yeah, I wake up, I eat, I go train, I chill out, I train again, I chill out, I eat, I go to sleep, and wake up, do it again. That's my life.
So you're clearly dedicated. There's no doubt about that. When you're traveling an hour and a half, 2 hours one direction just to train, you're clearly dedicated. What about it attracts you to this? Like, how old are you right now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 24.
Okay, so you're 24. What about this attracts you instead of saying doing a 9 to 5 traditional job, something like that?
Well, sports has always attracted me. And when I left college and I was working at a bank and I was working at Modell's, and I was a salesman, or as we like to call it, experiential marketers. It was like I don't like working for people, man. that,
You want to be
that
your
was
own boss.
yeah,
Okay.
that was it, and I feel like fighting is the most honest thing that you can do. Um, and because it's the most honest thing you can do, I feel like there's nothing fake about it. There's everything is real, and it's 1v1. No one can fight for you, and the truth will always show itself. And you learn a lot about somebody when you go in and you fight them. Especially if it goes the whole distance, you learn so much about what's inside more than you can learn from just a regular conversation. And so I love all of that about fighting. I think I love the primal aspect about it. And that's it. It's the most honest thing you can do is fight.
Awesome, absolutely. I know it's definitely entertaining for us fans who are watching. Now tell us a little bit about your opponent. I know you said you mentioned your opponent, Gustavo Granados, who I've met before in an interview. He's a tough guy. What are some challenges you see he presents, and what are some things you believe you have the advantage in against him?
Well, so it's funny. He was my opponent up until today. So,
Oh,
uh,
geez, okay.
yeah, up until today. So, I watched a couple of his fights, and so, so yeah, so I'm watching his footage, and I fought John O'Day my first fight, and John O'Day whooped him, and then I whooped John, and so now they wanted me to fight Gustavo. And I said Mach, the matchmaker of Triton, he was watching me spar today, and he saw me, sparring with some professionals, and he was like, "Oh, that's a bad that's a bad matchup." And so now they're trying to find somebody more credible for me to fight. It was one of those things and again, it kind of highlights to what I said before the fight last month. Everybody was just kind of like, "Oh, this kid is all talk. This kid is all talk," and I had to go out there and prove myself, and now they're starting to see that nah, he backs it up, and so um, yeah, and so I'm waiting on who that more credible opponent is, but whoever he is, it's the same result every time.
No, I think that's awesome that you weren't like, no, no, I want to fight him. You like they believe you should be fighting someone a little better, and then they're gonna go find you someone because I feel like
Well,
a lot of
I
guys in the
personally
amateur.
believe I should be fighting somebody better.
Okay,
you
there's
know that
a lot of guys want to tiptoe around quality opponents, and it sounds like you just want to get in there with the sharks and prove yourself. And especially at the amateur level, what does it matter if you take an L? Like I know you don't want to, obviously, but you can learn from it on the amateur level. Where the professional level, you can't get that back.
Yeah. Well, again, man, it's the most honest sport you can do.
Hmm.
There's no hiding, and it says something about somebody's character. When they're whoever, man, whoever. It don't matter. Florida, New York, California, New Mexico.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter, man. Just put me in there, and it'll be fun.
Awesome. Now, well, what are your goals? I know obviously you just mentioned before your goals to become the lightweight champion. What are your, I guess you say, some short-term goals that you want to get accomplished within your camp slash this fight, and then your long-term goals for your career?
Well, short-term goal. I owe my team that first round KO. I told him I was gonna get it last fight, and I dropped him in 40 seconds, and I almost got it. It was a small positional error with my legs on that part, and that's what allowed him to get up and the fight to continue. So I owe them that. So for short term goal, first round knockout. Long term goal. Um, yeah, just kind of take over the amateur circuit, make a name for myself. I want
Awesome.
the lightweight belt, I want the featherweight belt, maybe even the damn 170 belt, and really get my name out there, so that way I can create a buzz around myself, and put New York City on the map. Everywhere else, we got Florida's on the map. Obviously, with the UFC, and New Mexico with the Jackson Wink MMA, and
Mhm.
Colorado with Trevor Whitman and those guys over there. Those places are on the map, but New York is known for everything except fighting, and so we have the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, and I've always just in it had this vision ever since watching UFC 217. I was there live when GSP beat Bisping. Uh,
Okay.
I've always had that vision of like, man, headlining a main event in the UFC and Madison Square Garden, really putting New York on the map as a premier location for fighters.
Absolutely. And I've seen Bellator fights, UFC fights at the Garden, and it's
Yeah,
something else. It's definitely something special. So that'd be a pretty sweet accomplishment. Absolutely.
yeah,
Um, now when you're what's it called when you see these guys in your weight class and stuff, you're talking about going from 45, 55 to 170. How is weight cutting for you? Is that something you've kind of already understood, or is that something you're still understanding? There's a lot of guys who maybe not wrestlers struggle with that at first, and kind of
yeah.
becomes a
So,
struggle.
I had the opportunity to train with the crew Phil Nurse, and I know he's obviously been in the corner with GSP countless times in his fights, and
Mhm.
obviously John Jones, and when he was early on in his career, and he put me through a mock weight cut, and my goal was I had 5 days to cut 20 pounds, and I just looked it up online on how to do it and found a nice system. And so I do that, That's what I did for my last fight. I walk around 175.
Okay.
The most was like 180. And so for that cut, I started at 177 and I went down, I made weight 155 and a half. And then I fought John. And so, yeah, so well, for me, weight cutting is my body has always been adaptive to everything. I'm one of those body types that like I can lose weight really quickly. I can also gain weight easily if I wanted to. So, uh,
Okay.
body transformation for me has never been a something that I struggled doing. So for me, when I say I can fight at 145, I definitely can fight at 145. My walking weight is 170. I could definitely make 145. And if I need to bulk up to fight at sorry, if I say I can make 145, I can do that. If I need to bulk up and get to 190 so I can fight at 170, I will.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So it's something you've kind of figured out and you can understand for yourself, because I know a lot of guys struggle with that, especially at first when they're just become an amateur and they're just getting into the fighting game. But that's cool that you already did like the mock weight cuts, and then you did a weight cut already for your first fight. So it's something you kind of figured out, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about more what you said you want to accomplish the first round knockout. Tell us a little bit about like the training techniques that you've learned. Um, I guess like more so like when you're not in camp, where are you focusing majority of your skills? Are you, because you said you're a pretty strong striker with the Taekwondo black belt. Is it all grappling, BJJ, wrestling right now, or
No, no, no. It's
mix it up?
you know with martial arts, I don't like being sucked into a vacuum of like, oh, it's just I'm only focusing on this, I'm only doing that.
Mhm.
I like to have fun with it, man. So I'm working on some karate because there's some great techniques that karate practitioners use, and I think that it will blend well with Muay Thai as well, and the Dutch style of kickboxing, and as well as Taekwondo. There's a time and
Mhm.
place for everything, and so just obviously learning those, and then me, I'm just getting a strong grasp of the basics when of grappling, and yeah, just becoming more and more comfortable. I watch fights all the time. I watch old fights. I watch modern day fights, and I watch one championship, and so I learned just so many techniques just off of watching it. I've watched Mighty Mouse Johnson, Rod Tang, and one championship. I just watch these guys and just pick things from them. Israel Adesanya, Conor McGregor, Robert Whitaker, Anderson. So I just learned just from watching. Um, and oh, I like that. All right, cool. Let's go in and work on that. Let's put that. Let's make that a part of my repertoire. I'll see a good transition, a good wrestling sweep, and I'll go to my wrestling coach and be like, hey, can we practice that? And we'll just drill it until now it just happens second nature.
That's awesome that you're a fan of the sport. I know watching is definitely how you learn and you get used to it. And that you kind of went into my next question was, is there any fighters that you follow specifically or try to inspire you to do things? But it sounds like you watch everyone and willing to. You're not just focused on just this guy, just that guy. You're taking everything from a little bit of everyone, trying to make that ultimate fighter.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the way it's supposed to be, man. You can't just the game is evolving. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? If you're stuck on one style of fighting, there's always an alternative. You got to be 3 steps ahead. You got to be 4 steps ahead, and that's the way to do it. You can't just put yourself in a box and say this is my style of fighting and only train that way. Like, no, you got to take things from everybody because every technique is effective at some point. You know what I mean? And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's how I look at it.
Awesome. Now, this will be your second fight. How many more fights do you want to have in 2021? Is there a certain number of fights you want before you turn professional?
I wanted to fight at least 4 times this year. Um, yeah, at least 4 times this year. Looking at a title fight maybe in December, or early next year, early 2022.
Okay,
Jesus.
awesome. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think we're already 5 months into
Yeah, right?
2021.
Yeah.
So, no, I totally get that. Awesome. And then, what do you believe you have to do as an amateur to improve to be successful on the professional level?
I think really mindset training, mental training. I think that separates everybody. Guys have skills, world class skills all over the world.
Hmm.
But the one thing that messes them up is the mental game, and so constantly training on my mental, meditating, visualization techniques and things like that. I think that's one thing that I've started doing, that has helped me out, and doing that, and also working techniques in my mind. You know what I mean? Because your brain can't decipher whether you're doing it in your head or if you're doing it real time. And so constantly training in my head and then incorporating it with training full time. I'm training around the clock, man. I just keep doing what I'm doing, man. I train 6, 7 days a week, 2 times a day. And I go harder than anyone I know. So, that's to keep doing that, I'll get to where I need to be.
Now, I know you said the opponent doesn't matter to you. The results will be the same. What can we expect on January or June 18th? Excuse me.
June
Triton.
18th, whoever it is, I owe my team a knockout. I owe myself a knockout and my family a knockout. So it would definitely be a knockout.
Awesome, awesome. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you get in there and put
not
your
not only a knockout, not only a knockout, but like an assassination. That's how I want it. Like a
kind
like
of
a
like last
complete
night's main event knockout. I don't know if you saw that.
yeah, basically just
He
a
was out
whole.
cold as the second he got hit with that elbow.
Yeah, just picking them apart the whole time. I don't care if it's in the first, second, third, just the entire fight. He's just broken down till he has nothing left, and then going for the kill. Be very patient. That was one thing I wasn't in my first fight. I tried to rush it, and yeah, and so that halted me from getting my finish. But just being patient and really picking my spots and breaking them down. Whoever it is, they get broken down. Same result. Cold story.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm looking forward, like I said, looking forward to seeing you get in there. And that's definitely, I think, one of the amateur mistakes a lot of people make is they see they smell the blood in the water and they pounce, and instead of being a little patient and then picking apart their opponents. That's something I've seen on the amateur circuit very often, but sounds like it's something you already noticed and want to improve on. And that's exciting to see you get in there and
Oh, man.
put it to work. Before I let you go, this question I ask every fighter is, what's one thing about you that nobody knows but you'd like to share with everyone?
That's
Could
one
be
thing.
anything. It doesn't have to be MMA related.
I whip anybody on the basketball court.
Okay. What position do you play on the team?
I was a point guard.
A point
Yeah,
guard. All right.
yeah.
Cool.
I'm 5'10". I was playing with guys that were like 6'5", 6'8". I was a point guard.
All right, so you probably got a mean little jump shot.
Yes, 100%. See me on the
Awesome,
court,
awesome.
everybody.
Well, Joshua, it was a pleasure chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you get in there and hoping to find when you find out your opponent, please let me know and we'll put an announcement out on the page for you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Awesome, and best of luck, guys. This is the Carol Corner MMA podcast, hosted and sponsored by MyMMAnews.com. Check out Triton Fights June 18th as Joshua Abrams will be in there getting in against. We'll find out his opponent as soon as Chris Machi, the matchmaker for Triton Fights, finds someone equivalent to his skill level, and we're looking forward to seeing this. Joshua, thank you and have a great night.
Pleasure. Thank you.